Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Sony Pro Audio Files. My name is Andy Munitz, Product Manager for Sony's Professional Audio Division. And in this video, we'll go into the specific operation and features of one of the latest models added to our UWP-D wireless microphone series, the 2-channel URX-P03D portable receiver. For many years, the concept of a high-quality, small 2-channel battery-operated receiver has been a goal of our designers, and with the introduction of this model, it has now become a reality. So, if you already have the URX-P03D, or are just looking to learn more about it, this video should give you lots of information on how to simply operate it, and perhaps introduce you to some of its unique features and design benefits that the UWP-D product family is known for. So, let's take a look. The URX-P03D is a 2-channel portable camera mount receiver, but has some very interesting and unique capabilities that we'll talk about in just a bit. The UWP-D series is capable of tuning in up to 2,772 channels, covering a very wide tuning range of up to 12 UHF TV channels, or 72 MHz, and allows for very easy scanning and infrared syncing of your receiver and transmitters for finding and setting the best and quietest channel available for each of the 2 channels every time you use it. The series also employs digital signal processing, or DSP, of the audio to ensure great sound and preservation of the transient response of your audio signals. The URX-P03D receiver integrates with many styles of cameras, but also integrates in a unique way with many of Sony's PXW series of Pro camcorders, as well as many Alpha series DSLRs, through the use of Sony's MI, or a multi-interface shoe. This allows for a very quick and simple method of attaching UWP-D receivers to these MI shoe-enabled cameras, allowing for dual-channel audio from the URX-P03D to route directly down through the SMAD-P3D dual-channel MI shoe adapter into the camera without the need for external XLR cables, and even allows for power to come up through the shoe from the camera's battery to power the URX-P03D receiver without the need for using internal batteries. This can even lighten things up a bit and make your camera rig a bit less front-heavy. Very useful capability, especially for run-and-gun applications. By the way, 2 mini to XLR and dual mini to stereo mini cables are included with the receiver for mounting on most styles of cameras, as well as a cold shoe mount. The unit also utilizes a very large and bright backlit display with extensive menu selections for taking advantage of its many capabilities. Additionally, UWP-D battery-operated units employ useful features such as micro USB connectors for permanent powering or in-unit charging of nickel metal hydride batteries when using a cell phone charger, and also have an accurate count-up battery timer. Portable receivers in the UWP-D lineup also have a dedicated variable level main output, as well as a level adjustable headphone out. As well, all UWP-D series transmitters and receivers are compatible, and even allow for backwards compatibility with Sony's legacy UWP and WL800 series wireless microphone models. And finally, in the UWP-D family of products, all components are made with metal construction for reliability in field use and have a great Sony fit and finish. Okay, so with that brief overview and introduction, let's dive into the menus of this unit and get you up and running quickly. Even though there are quite a few menu selections, we'll start off by showing you the simplest way to search for the best frequencies to use and pair up the transmitters. Once that step is done, you might not normally need to go deeper into the other menus, but it's always a good idea to know what your gear is capable of. First up, on the connector top panel of the unit, notice that there are independent power switches for each channel, so that you can save battery life if you only need to power up one channel. On the front display side of the unit, you'll see a menu button which will select between 4 main sub-menus: Channel Overview and Utility menu, Receiver Channel 1, Receiver Channel 2, and External In, something we'll talk about in a bit. Also notice a set button on the left of the display and plus and minus buttons on the right for scrolling through menus and specific menu choices. Holding down the Set button briefly chooses that menu for modification, and the Set button also locks in your menu choice. On the right side of the receiver, notice the infrared port. This will be used for syncing up your transmitter and receiver on the chosen channel when doing a scan for open frequencies. Again, the most common setting you're likely to make with this gear. After powering on both channels of the receiver, the display initially shows an overview of both channels. The screen will show the audio level for each of the signals, their group and channel numbers, the RF signal strength meter for each, and a battery level indicator. By the way, we go into more detail on the topics of channels and groups in a separate video that I hope you'll have a chance to look at, entitled UWP-D and DWX Wireless Microphone Channels and Groups. But for now, notice that we're currently set to group 00 and are operating within the UHF-TV 30 channel and specifically on wireless mic channels 01 and 05 within that much larger TV channel 30's spectrum. For the purpose of this video, and for maybe following along with your own gear, you'll want to be in group 00 on both channels. To set to group 00, by the way, when on the receiver channel's main page, simply hold down the Set button, use either the plus or minus button to make it say 00, hit the Set button again, and hit the Set button again one more time. Okay, that said, let's investigate the most common setting that you'll need to use most often, how to scan for the best available channels, and how to sync up your transmitters to match. As finding the quietest frequency available at each location you shoot is critical for ensuring your best wireless mic experience, it must be easy to do and remember. First, we'll change the submenu to look at only receiver channel 1 by hitting the menu button once. This screen gives us additional information about channel 1, including the actual frequency that is being used. Simply hit the minus button and bring up the Auto Set menu. Then hold down the Set button until the word Yes flashes, and then hit the Set button again to select Yes. Channel 1 will start scanning channels for the quietest available frequency, and note that the RF signal strength meters will change depending on the background noise of the channels it is scanning through. After the scan is finished, in about 12 seconds, the display will say Sync. If you then hold up the transmitter with its infrared window facing the receivers, the transmitter window will light up and say Sync with the word No flashing. On the transmitter, hit either the plus or minus button to change the word to Yes, and then hit the transmitter's Set button to lock in this choice. This procedure will set the receiver and transmitter to both be on this new channel, and the receiver's signal strength meter should now look full and strong. By the way, the first couple of times you try this, the menu system might time out on you, but once familiar with this procedure, it'll become obvious and work fine. If the second receiver channel is needed, just leave the first channel's transmitter on and repeat the process for channel 2 and its transmitter. Channel 2's receiver will see channel 1's transmitter when scanning and skip over that frequency when it looks for another clear channel to use. This auto set method is by far the easiest and most direct method of setting your wireless channels, and once understood will become second nature. Next down in the receiver menu is the band selection. As mentioned earlier, the UWP-D series is capable of operating over a very wide bandwidth of available frequencies, up to 72 MHz or 12 UHF-TV channels to be exact. As these units operate within unused UHF-TV channels, ranging from TV channel 14 up through UHF-TV 51, you can have your UWP-D transmitters and receivers matching in either the 14, 30, or 42 range, splitting this large frequency spectrum roughly into thirds. Now, if you have a 30 block system, it means that your system covers UHF TV channels 30 through 41. The band menu that we're now looking at actually splits this range into further thirds, that of 30 to 33, 34 to 36, and 38 to 41. This helps keep full scan times manageable, amongst other things. Changing this band menu selection will determine which specific channel range your receiver will scan and operate in. Next is the Clear Scan menu, another method of scanning for quiet channels to use. Once selected with the Set button, it will flash a plus sign at you, suggesting that by hitting the plus button, you can likewise scroll through available found channels in order of their quality of choice for selection and pairing with the transmitter. This method can show you fairly easily which TV channels are available for use in your particular location, and can help in choosing a group to use for a larger multi-channel wireless setup. Up next is the Sync menu. This will have the receiver manually send its current channel selection over to the transmitter via the infrared link. Compander mode. Cycling through the options here will allow for receiver compatibility with Sony's legacy UWP or WL800 transmitters. For our purposes here, though, make sure it stays on UWP-D for both channels. Active Scan is a scanning function that will look for any active UWP-D transmitters already in use in a particular group, allowing you to quickly choose to listen in to any of the transmitters in a multi-channel mic setup. Once in this menu, hit the plus button to scan for any transmitters, and hit Set to select that one, or hit the minus button to cancel out of this function. And finally, the Assign menu. Now, this one is pretty unique. This controls the onboard mixer function for each channel. For example, if you realize that since the URX-P03D is a 2-channel receiver and has 2 audio outputs that normally feed 2 audio channels on a video or DSLR camera, then should wireless channel 1 always feed camera channel 1? Perhaps not. This Assign menu allows you to have wireless channel 1 feed out either output 1 or output 2, or even out to both at the same time. This can be handy if doing a live shot, for example, when you don't want to have each talent's voice coming out of only one of the viewer's speakers. Assigning to both outputs at the same time will have the voices seeming to come out of the center between the TV speakers, matching the image. If you'll be editing your file and want discrete control over each channel's audio in post, where you might pan them to the center later on, then leave them assigned to their individual channels only. And now for something extremely different. If you look at the top of the receiver, you'll notice a mic-in connector. This connector will allow you to plug in an external mic at the camera position and mix it in with the 2 wireless channels. What could be an application for this? Let's consider that you're not only the cameraman, producer, director, but you're also the off-screen interviewer. By plugging in a lavalier mic that you are wearing, you can now record your own questions in full fidelity and mix them in with the on-screen talent's voices, making them all available for either post or a live shot. But actually, there's still a bit more. This external mic input can also accept a stereo mic input, such as this little plug-in power stereo mic. By assigning this mic's output to be hard left and right, and your talent's mics down the middle, you can also capture the stereo ambience of wherever you're shooting. Imagine a sporting event with your reporter in mono center, but also being able to have the listener hear the giant crowd in full stereo. How about a wedding, where the groom wearing the body pack is transmitting the wedding vows, but at the camera position, you're able to capture the sound of the organ reverberating through the giant church in stereo. It would certainly make watching back that wedding video more engaging from an audio point of view. As you can hopefully see, having this ability adds great audio flexibility to having only a 2-channel camera. And if you take it to the next level, you could even have 4 wireless channels with a second 2-channel receiver's stereo out, feeding into the first receiver's stereo mic input. Of course, if your camera already has 4 channels of audio, all channels could be recorded discreetly. So let's have a look at the menu controls available for this external input by hitting the top menu and bringing up the external in page. The Mic Select page allows you to select the powering option for a connected microphone. The input level control allows you to mix the level of the external mic up to plus or minus 12 dB so that it blends in properly with your wireless channels. And don't forget, the URX-P03D has a dedicated headphone out, allowing you to make these mix decisions while listening, even if your DSLR doesn't have a headphone jack. Next is the LCF, or low cut filter frequency choice. Depending perhaps on wind or background noise conditions, this can be set to off, low 100 Hz, mid 150 Hz, or high 200 Hz filter setting. If setting this filter, don't forget to reset it for subsequent shoots, perhaps under different conditions. Next is phase. This allows for changing the audio phase of a connected microphone. And finally, the assign output for the external mic, allowing you to have the external mic channel feed out either output 1 or output 2, or even out to both at the same time, or hard left and right when using a stereo mic. The fourth submenu to look at shows a quick glance of both wireless channels at once, as described earlier, plus some utility settings. Moving down its menu choices brings up the following. Phones, or headphone level. Pretty obvious, but depending on your headphones of choice, this control can be useful. Out level, or output level of the receiver. This is adjustable to plus or minus 12 dB, which can be very useful, especially when feeding a DSLR that might not have much of an audio control or menu selection. Up next, we see the time menu. After selecting this menu by holding down the set button, you can then hit the minus button to reset the battery count-up timer to 0. Then hit the set button again to store this setting. In other words, every time you put in a fresh set of batteries, be sure to reset this menu to 0. Of course, you'd never really trust your 3-segment battery meter, and you'd instantly change batteries if a single segment was gone. But now you have an accurate timer that you can trust. Next up, power source. This setting will determine the power source for the receiver unit. For example, if it's mounted on one of our MI or multi-interface enabled cameras with our dual-channel MI shoe adapter, the UWP-P3D. That chooses either the receiver's onboard AA batteries or to use power externally from the camera's battery. It also allows for choosing to power the unit from a micro USB connected power supply, such as a cell phone charger or external USB portable power supply. Choosing the battery-only mode will not allow the unit to switch automatically to the other connected power options should the batteries run down. The other selections allow you to choose which power sources take precedent, but allow for auto switching. Following that is a battery choice option, which will allow the unit's battery meter to work correctly depending on the type of battery you choose to use. Type 1 is for alkaline batteries, Type 2 is for nickel metal hydride rechargeable batteries, and Type 3 is for lithium batteries. The contrast menu simply adjusts the display contrast that suits you best. And next, a reset button that will restore the factory default parameters of the receiver. Finally, the last menu will display the URX-P03D's current firmware revision. Well, that's a pretty detailed view into the operation of our URX-P03D dual-channel wireless receiver in the UWP-D lineup. Realize, though, that even with all of these menu choices we've looked at, you'll most likely just scan for clear frequencies each time you use the system, sync up the transmitters to match, and you're all good to go. Hopefully this video has given you insights into the operation of the URX-P03D and will help make you the master of your wireless mics. As I'm sure you realize, wireless mics can offer real flexibility, but without a solid understanding of both their operation and frequency selection, they might offer a bit less than the best results. And finally, I hope you'll have a chance to look for our other videos on UWP-D wireless mic operation and UWP-D and DWX wireless microphone channels and groups to help complete your understanding of your UWP-D wireless mic package. For further information on these and other Sony professional audio products and various resource downloads, please visit us at sony.com/proaudio. And thanks for watching.